So, Michael, you've done many, many interviews with quite a few people recently, but so we don't want to labour too much on some of the questions you maybe covered before. But let's put a foundation on Michael Gray and go back to the early DJ days. When did you transform into a DJ from what you were as a young man and get that DJ bug? What was the story there, Mike?
The DJ bug started when I was about 11, and then I started doing these discos at our church hall once a month, which my parents organised, my dad particularly. And ever since that, every single month without fail, DJing to 120 under 16s was just one of the biggest buzzes ever. We're talking late 70s, early 80s, where the music was just off the hook. So it was a great time. And then, I was at secondary school. I did all the school discos wherever I could. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do, is just DJ. The production thing hadn't come in then, but the mixing had, the starting to mix and learn to mix and stuff like that.
Got you, yeah. I mean, the DJ to mega mixer, remixer, producer to artist, looking back then, did you have that vision and strategy in place for what you wanted to be in the future?
I did, yeah. I did. Starting off, all I wanted to do is DJ the nightclub. That was the biggest thing for me. And I used to buy Record Mirror religiously, probably just like yourself, Disco International magazine, and I would look at I paged through it, and I'd look at all the clubs and all the lighting and the console, and I've got to be there. And it's something that completely takes over everything. Even when your mates come round, say, should we go out and do such? You're only about 15. You're like, yeah, I'm just going to practice my mixing. I'm just going to do this mixtape. I'm just going to, and it becomes such a bug that you cannot let it down. I didn't know, obviously, I wanted to end up producing records and writing records until I got to mastering the Megamix side of things, which when I was probably about 19, 20, 21. And then I suddenly realized, hang on a second, I think I could make my own track here and there, albeit a bit rough around the edges, but you've got to start somewhere. And yeah, it's something that I enjoy today just as much as I did then. Nothing's changed. I still have that bug to work in the studio.
Let's talk about Sultra, your own label. Is this very much your baby? Do you have anybody else connected with it, or is this purely Michael?
Yeah, it's just me. Just me. And I've got a great company called Ultramoda who look after the management side of it. And when I say management, all the distribution and things like that, and the artwork, and which helps because there's no way I could do the whole lot myself. With regard to the gigs, a good friend of mine, Ian Perry, will DJ because he knows the sound that I like. He knows also how to start the room off. Even our Sultra gigs now, we start at 112 beats per minute. There's no reason to go crashing in when everybody's walking in at 125. There's no point, to me anyway. I like that way of just building up the night, and so he's very good at that. So that's what we try and do, a Sultra thing, and release new records, really important, because I don't think there's enough new records out there, not new songs anyway. A lot of people, it's great having loads of heritage nights, and it's great having, remixing old tunes, which I admit to, I do myself. But I think with Sultra, I just want to keep trying push. Glitterbox do it, and Midnight Riot. Unfortunately, obviously, with Andy not around anymore, that's very sad. We've lost that sort of output. But yeah, I get a real buzz out of still making new tunes and trying to keep a Sultra sound and try and bring in more. I'm not signing anybody as such unless I've remixed the record. It's just I don't have time to A&R records.
Yeah. And keeping on the Sultra tip, obviously, optimism.
Yeah.
What a thing to actually commit the resources, financially, time, dedication, commitment, the exclusion of other paid gigs or commitments, etc., to commit yourself to an album. What was the decision? What's the thing that thought, okay, at this point in life, I am going to make an album? You personally financed the whole thing. That's a big decision to make, Mike.
Yeah, I remember not sleeping one night because I realised how expensive the invoice was for the string players and the arranging. I was like, oh, okay, right.
Oops, did I do the right
And
thing?
I remember sort of hardly sleeping all night, thinking what to. But the string arrangers, that he's a brilliant, lovely guy, Stephen Hussey, and he said, we can do a deal where you just pay, cut me in on the writing and stuff like that. I thought, no, I can do this, and I was panicking all night, not panicking, but concerned about how much money was going out. And then the following day, I got a royalties from PPL come in. I thought, thank God for that, and I didn't expect that.
Praise the Lord!
Oh, thank God, that's paid for that one. But I was determined to do an original album and have as much live musicianship on there, as well as obviously putting all my club drums and so it's a hybrid between live and whatever. And even I had Derek McKenzie on drums over the top of my drums, so I just did basic house drums, then he played over the top, then I went back and put those all exactly in time with mine, then added some more stuff, live percussion, Russ Tarley, etc. But I have to admit, it's the most rewarding experience doing that album, and I wanted to do it, and I thought, it doesn't, if I don't make any money, it doesn't matter. It's what's in here. That's
you have to get it out. Yeah.
And so it was great to do. I am halfway through the next album. It won't get released till next year. I don't think I could take the stress of all the contracts and everything, because there's a lot of different artists to keep.
A lot of moving parts. Yeah, indeed.
But I would like to take it live one of these days, maybe at the Jazz Cafe or something, to do the whole thing live.
Brilliant. When you're actually writing, composing songs with other people, is that a process you enjoy? Do you do it transatlantic? Do people come to your studio? Do you just get on a Zoom call? How does that work?
Yeah, well, that's the best bit. I was just lucky. The singers or writers that I work with were, I don't know, they're just really good. They were good. I didn't really want to work with any household house names, if that makes sense. I could do, but I didn't want to. I wanted to work with singers that maybe weren't so well known, perhaps. Some of them, not all, but some of them. One person was particularly really, we worked really well. There's in fact, I work well with all of them, but there's one particular one, and Tatiana Owens, and she is based in New York. I would send the backing track over. She'd write something, demo it, send it back. I might say, "Oh, could you adjust this and this and this?" Or sometimes I didn't have to do anything, and then she would send it back, and it just clicked. She got what I was trying to do straight away. And then some occasions where she sent them back, I just completely changed the backing track. On 2 records, I totally changed the backing track. Once I got back what she'd done, I thought, I can better this now. I can actually make it better. So it's like remixing your own record.
Yeah, but you needed that kind of part in the journey to get there. You couldn't have got there without that bit, could you? Let's talk about your monthly My Soul show. What was your early connection with My Soul, and how did you get into working with those guys? And talk us through the process of producing the mix, and also you have guest remix as well. How you choose the guest remixes for Sultra Radio Show?
I really love doing those shows. I think I'll be on my 5th year this July. I think it's my 5th anniversary. Right. So I was at a music networking thing, which John Saunderson puts on.
Oh, yeah.
And he introduced me to this guy called Brian Power, who was part of My Soul.
Right.
And I said to him, I'd really love to get on the radio. He said, well, why don't you come on my house and do a show? Not My Soul. They had My House on a Wednesday night. So I'll give you a Wednesday night. And I said, all right then. And I did it. And then from that, I went on to moved over to My Soul, and then they then gave me a Saturday night show,
Big time.
and yeah, and I loved it, and I thought I'll have a guest because I want to give, and the idea of the guest for the last half hour is to have up and coming DJs or very established DJs. So try and get everybody I can on. I mean, the list is the way, because it's every month. My waiting list is about two years worth.
Wow.
You know, the odd time I might have the same guests back again, but basically you're still oh, there's another new person. Oh, she's really good. I like her records, or I like his records. And,
Yeah, I get it.
you know, and so yeah, that's how I kind of run it. But I really enjoy doing it. It's a great way of testing records, and that's something, again, like Twitch, I've had a My Soul community now come on board. And when I go to gigs, they say, "Oh, I listen to your show," and I always listen back, or I listen to it live, or whatever. And that makes you feel really good, because you think, "Oh, someone is listening," because you don't know until you get that feedback. And it's great because you know that the tracks you're playing on your show, you can, when you play them out, you're more likely to get a better reaction because they're already getting used to those records that you're playing them.
Yeah, and you can tease those little dubs and various other things that you do. I mean, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I tend to listen to your shows mostly on the rewind, on the listen again thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always interesting as well who you choose for your guest spots, because that does bring a nice kind of light and shade contrast between what you're doing and what the guest does as well. So that's always cool.
Yeah. There's some I'm still trying to get, but they always go, "Yeah, I'll come on the show," and then it never quite happens. But hey ho.
Speaking of guests and everything, I mean, you had this, should we say, a legend in your Twitch studio. You've got a great vibe going with John Morales.
Yeah, John is a lovely guy. I look up to him. I just think, what an incredible guy. He's just started in his 70s, 71, I think.
Amazing.
And he's rocking it. And I'm just very impressed with how he's gone through that journey, huge in the 70s and 80s, massive. And I still keep finding records that I didn't realize he produced or remixed. Got another one. But John, I said to him jokingly over dinner, I said, "Oh, you must come on my Twitch show sometime." And he said, "Yeah, okay." Then about, I don't know, 6 months later, he said, "I'd like to come on your Twitch show." And I said, "Right, let's get this sorted." So when he was next over, he came over and hung out here. And then he then played our last Sultra party, which was really good. And funny enough, I persuaded him to come and do a mix for My Soul. So I think I'm going to have him on my 5th anniversary.
I'll stick him in the back of the 2-year queue. He won't mind. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's only John Morales. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, Mike. Let's talk about Mastermix. Obviously, everybody at Mastermix HQ very excited about you having your first album release of remixes and dubs. So we don't obviously want to give the full game away as regards to track listing at this particular point, but I think we can actually safely talk about that PYT remix. This one is very special to you. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so there's 2 Michael Jackson tracks I've remixed, as you know, but PYT will be going on this one. It was quite a tricky one. Not tricky one to do. There was a lot going on, and I wanted to try and get this. I always felt that it's a brilliant song, but it was quite fast, the original, and it was made me leaning more towards pop than club. So I just wanted to try and make it a little bit more clubby, especially the verses. So I got there in the end, and I just teased it a few times, played on my Twitch show and on My Soul, and no chance for Sony to release something like that. It's impossible. So, and then I'm just so excited that we're finally be able to release it on Mastermix. I've had so many people ask for it, and I can't give it to you. Can't give it to you.
Not yet.
Because but soon. But I couldn't say anything. So yeah, very excited by that, and I get a real buzz when I play it out, and it's a record that when I have a very younger audience in front of me, they relate to that, which is good.
Great. And did you have the multi-track parts, or did you have
Yeah,
the stem separate? Oh, you had the multi-track parts.
I had the full multi-track. Yeah, the same with Thriller. And yeah, it's great listening to all the little, as we all know, listening to an original multi-track. If you find something that wasn't on there, the only thing that I could find on that multi-track that wasn't on, not on the release, I think it's the engineer counting down.
Yeah, heard that bit.
I think it's PYT take one, I think he says. I thought I'll have that.
Yeah, we'll have that. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah.